It's time for you to outgrow your past. Nothing in life is going to last forever, and it's okay for you to move on and move forward. So, with that being said, welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance, and that is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Now, with that being said, because there's no right or wrong way to heal yourself, always and only take what resonates as well as leave the rest. So if it doesn't apply, then that means it's not in a line, which means it is not for you. So don't force it. As well as grab your pens, grab your paper, and be prepared to take notes. For today's video, we're going to go over and discuss why it's so important to outgrow your past and how to outgrow your past, as well as some recommendations, some reminders, some disclaimers, and just certain things that you should be aware of. That's a lot, but we have to give that disclaimer for those of you who are new. You have to realize that number one, when it comes to you growing and evolving in life, you're going to go through so many seasons and so many chapters. A lot of times you get stuck in certain moments and certain chapters because you didn't turn the page and you didn't learn the lesson. So let's start there. It is so important for you to realize that your life is infinite and abundant, and it's only going to stop when it's physically time for you to be deceased, as well as when you decide that you don't want to move forward. So the second disclaimer is realizing that there's so many opportunities in life. Now, of course, when you've gone through trials and tribulations and you've struggled and suffered, which it's so important to watch all the other videos that we talk about, because we overcome those things. You guys, I'm not editing this because I have things to do, but rewind. Okay, when you move on and move forward, you just have a lot of energy. I'm recording this very live, but what I'm trying to say is that you need to have a lot of opportunities. You need to realize there's a lot to life, because when you're used to struggling, when you're used to suffering, that's what we were talking about. You get into these mindsets, you get into these emotions, and you just limit yourself. You paralyze yourself, not realizing that just because you had certain moments or certain chapters where you struggled and suffered, that your entire life had to end up like that or be like that. Once again, our life is about choices, and that's going to be the third disclaimer. Learn from the choices that you made in your past, so therefore you can evaluate, you can self-reflect, you can apply what resonated, and continue to move forward and leave the rest. Because if you don't, the longer you hold on to certain people, places, mindsets, emotions, and feelings that no longer serve you or helping you be the person who you want to be as you're living this life, you will not be able to let go of those things. And that's when you start to have PTSD and become anxious, and then become overwhelmed, and then you have anxiety. Now you have a heart attack, and then you have cardiac arrest, and you have a panic attack, then you have paranoia, and now you're schizophrenic, now you're depressed, now you want to take out yourself and take others. Our mental health is connected to our physical health, our emotional health, and our psychological health. And if you're new here, we motivate, inform, and educate, and we come up with solutions as your favorite mental health specialist on this account, who's a naturopathic physician, which means we heal ourselves internally before we can heal ourselves externally. And that's the fourth disclaimer. Learn to regulate your nervous system. Learn to work on your emotions. Once you can talk about what has happened to you, how it made you feel, once again, you watch all the other videos. So therefore, at this point, moving forward, we can talk about the abundance and the wealth and success and how to maintain these things. We can continue to do what we need to do. The more you don't elaborate emotionally, mentally, physically, find ways to exercise and articulate your feelings and grieve who you used to be, the more, like I said, you'll just feel insane and just feel like life isn't fair, and that's when you lower your vibration, and that's what we don't want, because nothing in life is going to last forever. So finally, the fifth and final disclaimer before we get into the recommendations is knowing that some days are going to seem longer than others, but at the end of the day has to come to an end. That is something that you know. And in this video, you need to learn how to know yourself, so therefore you can know what to do. So the first recommendation in order for you to grieve your past is just be honest. Be honest. Like, learning to grieve your past, of course, I'm speaking from experience, takes time. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of effort. Yes, you're going to have days where you're crying. Yes, you're going to have days when you're going through withdrawals. Yes, you're going to have days where you're angry. Yes, you're going to think about all the conversations that you didn't speak up on. You're going to think about you being too small or you being too big or whatever it was. Nobody's saying that you're not going to feel, but it's like we have to release this shackles. We have to free ourselves. Like, we cannot continue to hold on to emotions and mindsets and behaviors that don't align with us, because a lot of times, 99% of the time, it's not even your vibe. It's not your energy. That's not who you are. You need to figure out who you are. So therefore, as you're moving forward and as you go through things in life, you are intentional about the time and the energy and effort you're pouring into yourself and others. A lot of times you experience narcissistic people and abuse and suffering and struggling because you don't know who you are. If you knew who you were, if you knew better, you would do better. And I'm speaking from experience. What has helped me along my healing journey to continue to show up despite everything that I've gone through was to always know who I was and being okay with that. I don't need to prove nothing to nobody. I don't need to go out my way to seek attention or validation, because that's not who I am. Now, if that's who you are, pat yourself on the back, but it's like you have to figure out who you are in this life. If not, this world will try. And we see so many, you guys heard that? My stomach just growled. Once again, I'm not editing this. We see so many people in real life, either they're celebrities, influencers, people you look up to, people in your community, family members, friends, whoever, go through abuse and they struggle, and a lot of times people's lives are end up being like taken out. They end up passing away, they end up having to go through a psych ward, or people try to silence them. And it's just like, if you don't want that to be your story because you're the author and originator, other than if you believe in the Most High, God, and the universe, once again, I'm not here to force religion or spirituality to take resonates with the rest. You get to decide your destiny. Nobody gets to say what you get to do and what you don't want to do. This is why it's so important that on this account you're taking the notes and you're applying what resonates, because it's like, if you don't want that to be you, which I know you don't want that to be you, you're gonna have to figure it out. So the second recommendation, once you're figuring out who you are and you're taking the time to know yourself, is to, what the heck, you guys, was that my stomach again? The second recommendation is to figure out moving forward, what are your non-negotiables. So for me, I have mentors, and I was having a conversation with one of my mentors about that, and that was recommended to me. So I'm gonna give you guys the sauce and the tea and the juice, because yeah. But I was having a conversation with my mentor, and we were just talking about some non-negotiables. And for me, I wrote down some things that were non-negotiables that, like, if anything in life, despite what I'm going through, on that list, I'm not going to continue to do. Because it's like, if you don't have non-negotiables, standards, quote unquote, as the kids would like to say, you will allow any and everything. And like, it's not to say that your standards previously in your past and how you used to think or how you used to feel was necessarily bad or not good or wrong, but if it's not in alignment of who you genuinely want to be versus what you've been taught and shown, you have to be able to set some boundaries. You have to be able to put some laws down and be okay with that. Like, who cares if people are upset that they don't fit your standards or on your list? Like, why would you want to be around them anyways? Why would you want to have them around you anyways? Like, so many people in my life up into my early years, because I'm 29, a lot of them didn't have standards. They didn't fit the list, and they were like, well, who does she think she is? And they want to, you're just not my cup of tea, and that's okay. You know why? Because there's so many different flavors of tea. Now, of course, don't get beside yourself. Just because you have options doesn't mean that everything is always going to be for you. And this is why it's so important to know what you want, because it's like, yes, you may have options, but if you don't know what you like specifically, tasting everything, you're going to waste your time. So it's like, figure out your flavor, figure out your vibe, figure out what your non-negotiables are, and stick with it. Don't allow anything or anybody who's not in alignment with you to make you feel bad, because they're taking up space. They're going to distract you, and they're going to make you feel bad. Like, so many people that I've had to outgrow never made me personally feel bad, but like, they would project and deflect, and I'm just like, I don't have the capacity to care. I'm not interested. I don't have any empathy towards you. And second of all, because I have standards, because I want to do what I do, I made this list. And that's what people have to realize. When you know who you are and you're capable of holding yourself to a standard, and you carry out the actions and you mean what you say, who's going to check you? Who's going to tell you that, oh, you can't have that? No, you can't have that. If you know you work, you take care of yourself, you're doing the right thing, you're working with what you have, you're starting from the bottom, now you're here, whether you have a community or not, who's going to tell you what you can and cannot have? Once again, start asking yourself, and that's going to be the third or fourth recommendation. Why would you, I think it's third, why would you want to surround yourself with people who try to tell you what to do, who try to control you, or who don't even do what they do? Like, so many people are going to have expectations of you. No one asks them. No one asks them. That's why I tell you guys, like, if my content's not for you, send and share this video to somebody who is, because you're using your free will to be here. So it's like, if you don't like what you see, like what you like, because we are not going to live forever. Like, so many of you are stuck in your past, not realizing that you're going to die. Like, yes, it seems like all the abuse and all the struggling, all the suffering is just maximized, and it's just every day, but it's like, that can't be it's not going to be our reality. And so the fourth recommendation is learning to change your mindset. Now, of course, I may be updating new videos about that in the future. Stay tuned, or let me know if you guys want that immediately, so I can post that immediately ASAP, okay? But it's like, you're gonna have to change your mindset, babe. Like, you're not who you used to be. So it's like, when you are becoming the person who you want to be, everything about you is gonna have to change. And I've made, like I said, over 1,000, almost 200 plus videos talking about that. So if you want something specifically, if you want examples, let me know. Like, don't be shy. You will have your notifications on. You're coming to the page. You're literally going to YouTube, typing in search, typing in my name, or coming to my page directly to see. And I know, because I have my analytics on. So thank you guys so much for always supporting and always engaging. Mucho te amo, mi amores, okay? But it's like, this is your life. You set the tone. Whatever you don't want to do, stop doing. Whatever you want to do, continue to do. Whatever you want to experience, educate yourself. Start putting yourself in rooms and environments, even if you don't have everything figured out now. Like, start to visualize. Like, you need that spark, you need that je ne sais quoi. Like, you need the energy, because if not, it's going to stay stagnant. And the longer you stay stagnant, the longer you're going to feel like nothing's working out for you, and you're going to live the same life every single day. And that's insanity. That's why people say, like, doing the same thing over and over and over again with no results or not seeing improvement is insanity. Not being consistent, though, because being insane versus being consistent are two different realities. But it's like, when you are stepping into the person who you know you want to be and who you know you're meant to be, it's going to take time. Like, you don't have to rush. Like I said, you have nothing to prove. So stop comparing yourself. Stop worrying about people that you used to know. They're not important, and they're not going to be where you need to be when you get there. And most importantly, like, you are everything that you have. So if you don't have community, you don't have friends, now you do. No more crying, no more whining. It's August almost, or whenever you're watching this, let me know. The year is coming to an end. Like, summer is about to be over with. When I'm uploading this video, it's August 20th, you guys. 2026. Then it'll be 2027. Then it'll be 2030. Then it'll be 2040. And then it'll be 2050. If you're watching this in 2050, comment 2050. Am I going to be here? I have no idea. But it's like, once again, life is not going to wait for us just because we're having bad days. Our bad days don't have to turn into a bad year or a bad life. Yes, we go through things. Learn the lessons. Stop repeating the same cycles. And if you need help, make sure you're following me on all my social media platforms. All the information is down in the description box below. Let me know what you need to work on. And like I said, what questions do we have? What topics you guys want me to go over and discuss? But most importantly, if you want me to talk about this in real time, drop the word live and head to Instagram and on TikTok, because that's where I'll be until we can go live on YouTube. So I love you. You're loved. You're not alone. Thanks for watching. Peace.